Great. Who's this?
I'm Jordan.
Hey, Jordan.
I wrote it down so I'd say it right. From what I get, the book urges a transition into postmodern thinking. My question is, how long will that type of thinking be relevant if we're going through a transition like that? And how long will it be till we have to develop yet another style of thinking?
Fantastic question, first of all. Second of all, a guy with a hairstyle like mine needs a hat like yours. So, man, I'm coveting your hat right now. First of all, I really think that's a very perceptive question, because the last thing we need to do is go through all this agony of disembedding, from one way of thinking, and then just as rigidly embed in another way of thinking that will create just as many problems for our children and grandchildren. So it's a smart question. First of all, I hope I'm not saying in the book that I'm recommending people become postmodernists, whatever that is. What I'm trying to say, help people see in the book, is that you don't have, in order to be a Christian, you don't have to be a modernist. That's what I'm trying to say. And trying to sort of create some opening and some space for people to think about their faith in a fresh way. Because let's face it, people were Christians in the pre-modern era, in the medieval era. They were Christians in the ancient world. So we should allow them freedom to be Christians outside of the constraints of a period of history that is characterized by colonialism and rationalism and nationalism and things like this. I think, here's what I hope. If we could change one key idea at this juncture, it would really, really help us. And that key idea is the idea that we've got it right. There's a difference between saying we used to have it wrong and now we have it right, or even saying, well, we might not have it right now, but as soon as we fix these 3 or 4 things, then we'll have it right. There's a difference between that and saying we're in a constant quest to keep learning, to keep growing. And the Christian faith is a community of people who are disciples of Jesus Christ, and disciples are learners, and learners are people who keep learning. So to me, this is the great challenge for the Christian faith, because if we could change that one assumption, that would be, I think, incredibly liberating for us. Let me give you an example. If you guys, I'm sure a lot of you are science majors, you know a lot about science. So for the last several hundred years, to say you're a scientist meant you were a scientist in the tradition of Sir Isaac Newton. You understood science, you understood physics as the fundamental science, and you understood something called the laws of mechanics as the operating system of the universe. But about 100 years ago, something happened. A guy named Albert Einstein started to bring up some new ideas, and other people like Max Planck and Werner Heisenberg and others. And so now we've opened up a new era where science is no longer limited to the thinking of Sir Isaac Newton. Now there's what we call the new science. So you could say the tradition of science wasn't just Newtonian. It was Newtonian for a while, but now it's post-Newtonian. The tradition of science is continually adapting paradigms or ways of thinking, using them for a while, and then moving on. But it's the same tradition of science. And that's how I see the Christian faith. The Christian faith is on a continual quest for truth, for goodness, for beauty, for justice, for reconciliation, for service, for love. And that quest means we're constantly changing, constantly growing. I hope I'm making that clear, just that simple idea to go from saying we finally got it right to saying, no, we're continuing a quest. We always have a long way to go.